Hi everyone, my name is Romi and I'm the CEO of PensionBee. And today I'm joined by Anne Boden from Starling Bank. Welcome, Anne.
Thank you.
We thought it would be a perfect opportunity to bring Anne into the studio. As most of you know, Starling and PensionBee have a partnership whereby you can see your current account balance and your PensionBee balance together in Starling's app. Today, we're here to talk about another issue that is very important to both of us, and that is the issue of gender equality. So why don't we start off by hearing a little bit more about Anne and Anne's story and how you came to found Starling Bank.
Yeah, well, after 30 odd years in traditional financial services working for some of the biggest banks in the world, I decided that banking was broken and we should start a new bank. And I started in 2014 raising awareness of, well, what if banking was different? What if we actually could do things that customers wanted? And probably basically work with an ecosystem of other providers that were specialists. We will never provide the best mortgage in the world. And neither will we provide the best pensions access. So Starling's all about having a marketplace where we bring the best providers together to produce a whole sort of set of capability for our customers.
Moving on to, I guess the heart of today's conversation and the Making Money Equal campaign that you launched.
Yes.
Can you tell us a bit more about that and what is the campaign about? What did you find and what should we be learning from it?
Well, Make Money Equal started when I was sort of in the hairdressers, leafing through those magazines, and you see a whole pile of men's magazines and women's magazines, and I went through the women's magazines.
They're all about fashion and how to spend your money, right?
Yes, and it's all about, and the financial advice in them was, well, some of it was, most of it was all about don't splurge and don't spend too much money on
If
shoes.
you even get any advice. I mean, oftentimes when I browse through and they show you the 13 most successful bloggers, there's nothing about finance in there.
I know. Okay, so it was all about, they were all talking down to women, assuming that you weren't interested in investing well. And I came to the conclusion that this sort of, talking down to women about money was one of the factors that was leading to the gender pay gap and the gender money gap.
Yeah.
And we decided, wouldn't it be a great idea to make money equal? What if we could actually focus on a world where women and men feel the same way about money, are talked to in the same way about money, have the same advice about money, and therefore we could do our little bit to change and narrow that gap.
Who is the onus really on here, right? So should it be on you as the financial services company or should it be on women?
Yeah, I think that stop trying to fix the women all the time, okay? There's nothing wrong with the women. Let's try and fix the system.
Yeah.
Because as a woman, you have to work twice as hard, twice as long. What I'm trying to say to the women I meet, which I meet very, very professional, very, very competent women, or very capable of negotiating.
Absolutely, yeah.
The bar for those women is much higher than the bar for men. I find that lots of women, sort of are held to higher standards. Have to work twice as hard, have to be twice as good at the technical part of their job.
No, absolutely.
And that is tough. If you actually go to many, say, talent boards where women are discussed, women on promotion boards, you find that the women are held to much higher standards. They have to be perfect. And the men can, in some cases, just get away with it.
You and I are female founders. I think we have unique perspectives on what it means to be a woman and to be running a company and to have women in your organization. But that's just not the case, right, around the UK. Most companies are still dominated by men at the top levels and don't have a coherent plan for changing that gender mix to be anything close to 50-50. So how do we go about changing things?
Okay, first of all, we talk about it.
Yeah.
And we involve everybody in our conversation. and we make sure that all women at all levels of the organisation are free to talk about it and are prepared to talk about
Yes.
it. And we also need to give some, day-to-day tips on being a woman in the workplace, about not worrying about certain things.
Yeah.
And my recommendation to the women is, listen to what other people are saying. Note when you speak and when you don't speak.
Yeah.
And save your energy for the big arguments.
Yeah. Do you think that any of this is related to having children?
Okay. I don't have children. I work with women who have children. I think that once you get over a certain stage in your career, women are very, very capable of having big jobs and juggling and managing children. I think at the lower levels of the organisation, it is a question of money, because actually having help and getting the children to nursery whatever is a problem.
It is.
But the more senior you become, and the more senior you become in an organisation, it's less of an issue.
So what should we be thinking about in terms of maternity policy? Because it doesn't seem to me that telling women to take lots of time out of work is what's actually going to help you stay on the career ladder.
But we make it easy for men to take maternity leave. We make it easy for men to actually finish early, to pick up children from nursery. We try to work over time to make that much more of an equal relationship.
Tell me your view on another controversial
Okay,
topic,
good.
which is quotas.
Yeah, I believe in quotas.
You do? Why is that?
I think unless we have quotas, we will never actually get to a situation where we don't need quotas.
Because the difference is so big right now.
Yeah, I think that we need to have more women represented at all levels, and unless we have quotas, it will not change.
Yeah.
I know saying that quotas is very controversial, but I've been in the city and financial services now for 35 years, and it has not got better.
No.
It has been roughly the same number of women in these roles for 30 odd years. So if we do nothing at all, nothing will change.
No.
And I think younger women say, no, you can't have quotas. I want to get there on merit.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody to say I was promoted because I was a part of a quota.
Well, that is the main objection, right? Do quotas force you to promote the wrong people?
Yeah, but I think what it does is actually address the issue of the standards being different for men and women.
Yeah.
I think that the reason that we don't have certain women who progressing through various ranks of organisations is because they're held to higher standards, and forcing people to think about it by having a quota will mean that the process becomes much more rigorous and much more analytical.
Yes.
We got to make the world fairer.
Okay, well, I think we're definitely on the right track.
Yeah.
I think we're both really excited to be doing it within finance. And I just really like to thank you for coming and chatting to us today.
Thank you very much for having me.